Welcome to the stage, Vice President General Manager, Google Workspace, Aparna Pappu.
Hello and welcome. I'm Aparna Pappu and I lead Google Workspace. It's absolutely great to be back here to an even bigger Cloud Next with all of you. So much has happened since March of 2023, when we first introduced generative AI capabilities into Google Workspace. The seeds of AI were planted, and now, just 1 year later, we are seeing Gemini come to life in virtually every industry and every function in businesses of all sizes. It's really inspiring to see the incredible things that our customers are doing. Let's take a look.
Gemini for Google Workspace is becoming a part of our way of life. I personally leveraged Gemini in Google Docs to create a one-page summary of observability and monitoring tools. What Gemini gave me was CTO ready. Anytime I get back from Gemini, helps me spend more focus hours doing the things that really need my attention.
Some of the most exciting experience that we saw with Gemini for Google Workspace was around generating content for our HR team and our hiring manager. It was a win for both to become more efficient on delivering these job descriptions that helped us with hiring our external talent.
I see a great opportunity for Gemini for Workspace as a great productivity tool, but I especially like the captioning feature within Google Meet. That feature alone expands equity and accessibility across all users.
The combination of the Vertex AI platform and the Google Workspace platform gives us the toolkit to take burden off of highly qualified scientists and clinicians so that we bring medicines to market faster. There are documents that we create that could take weeks. Today, we can create that first draft in minutes.
I'm so excited to see where Google takes Gemini next.
We learn so much from our customers, and we've been hard at work using those insights to make Workspace even better. In fact, since Next 2023, just 8 months ago, we launched over 200 Workspace features and updates, and we're not slowing down. Yesterday, you heard me talk about some of the new products and capabilities for Google Workspace, including the brand new AI and meeting security add-ons and an entirely new Workspace app. Today, we're going to dive a little deeper into those, and you'll hear directly from two incredible customers, a global pharmaceutical company streamlining business processes with Google Workspace and Vertex, and a sporting goods retailer from California, amplifying the impact of employees across the entire business with Gemini. Let's jump in. Now, I want to start with a before and an after. This helps paint the picture of how far we've come in the last year with Gemini. Let me show you what I mean. Before, a marketer would spend all day writing social media content for their brand. But today, with Gemini, they can and do generate headlines, blog posts, social copy in seconds. An IT manager would try to keep up with notes and action items instead of engaging in a really important meeting. Now, Gemini can join the meeting and be a world-class note-taker for everyone. A sales director would spend hours watching corporate presentations on YouTube, reading earnings reports, going through press coverage to prep for a new account. Now, they can have Gemini ingest, analyze all of these sources, summarizing account insights before their first new client meeting in minutes. And a startup founder who's working to elevate an investor pitch would struggle through designing original imagery from scratch. Now Gemini can help by creating multiple options with a single prompt. Let me pause on this last example. We've all heard the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. But how do you get the right image? We did a quick survey with some of our wonderful marketing team and asked if they had created an original digital image before Gemini. Now, only about 20% of them said yes. Personally, I had never done this before Gemini. How many of you have illustrated something from scratch? And why not? Well, it's hard. The tools are complex, difficult to learn, and it's time-consuming. But I bet you could all describe the image you want super easily. And I know that all of you could do this today, and our customers are doing this every day. In fact, more than 75% of customers who generate images using Gemini end up inserting them into their presentations. Everybody can be a designer with Gemini, but this is just one way that Gemini helps you outdo yourself. You can also be an expert proposal writer, a brilliant marketing researcher, a world-class project manager, and so much more. Unlocking your potential with Gemini is about learning the art of prompting. And this goes just beyond asking Gemini questions. Let me introduce Christina Baer to the stage to show you more.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Baer, and I lead product for Workspace collaboration apps. Earlier this year, we conducted a study of 10,000 prompts from our Workspace Labs users to understand the kinds of help that they're looking for, and more importantly, how they were asking for it. We learned that the vast majority of users are writing prompts that are only 9 words long, whereas we found that the most successful prompts average around 21 words. But only 5% of users are doing that today. We believe that a well-formed prompt has 4 key elements: a persona, who is asking for the data, like an interviewer or a marketer; the task, what do you want Gemini to help you with; any context, considerations that would help frame the request; and last but not least is format. So if applicable, a desired output such as bullets or a table. So let's put this into practice with a live example. Say, for instance, I need help creating a launch plan for a new line of packaging made entirely from seaweed. I'm going to start with research in Gemini. Here's the Gemini web experience built specifically for businesses with my company's name and a reminder that my data will not be used for training or shared outside of my organization. Here's my prompt that I preloaded with persona, task, and context. And because Gemini has multi-step reasoning, Gemini is going to break down this prompt into sequential steps, each one building upon the next. As you can see, Gemini has outlined the problem with traditional packaging, benefits of my product, and very interestingly, the businesses and the customers that I should consider targeting with my product. Pretty impressive, right? But in the case with all LLM responses, there are instances where AI can get it wrong. Gemini's double check feature here can help you evaluate the responses. When a statement can be validated, it will be highlighted in green. We're just going to give it a second here to load. And the source citations will come from Google search. So you know what? This recommendation, though, for the demo purposes, looks good. So I'm going to export this into Docs. So within Docs, I have everything I need in one place. It's where I do my work with my team and collaborate. I'm going to open this file up here. And as you can see, I'm going to also just rename this file so that we can kind of find it easier later. I'm going to name it Launch Plan. OK. One thing I want to draw attention to is this new tabs feature in Google Docs. It helps you keep organized with everything that you need to collaborate effectively with your team. I'm going to rename this first tab here Industry Research. Industry Research. And then I'm going to create a new tab for my marketing plan. So I can just keep everything organized here. OK. So I'm going to, rather than start from scratch with a marketing plan, I'm going to use Gemini and tap into the wealth of knowledge that exists in Google Drive, pulling together insights from last year's launch. So I'm going to copy in this prompt to save you all from watching me type. So as a marketer, suggest a marketing channel strategy using the most successful channels from, and then I'm going to mention last year's launch report. And let's just see what it has to say. So, Gemini has access to all of the files that I have access to and nothing more, it's because of our focus on privacy and security. Okay, here we go. So Gemini thinks that the most successful things were from direct sales, paid ads, email marketing, and the source citation is here with the previous file. I think this looks great. I'm just gonna go ahead and add it into my launch plan for this year. As you can see, with the right prompt, Gemini has significantly sped up my research and planning. It allowed me to pull from both reliable public sources as well as our own internal data from Google Drive, giving me and the team a jump start for a successful launch. So now, while this is a great illustrative example, I'd love to introduce you to a speaker who can share some real-world experience of how Gemini is changing work as we know it. Sports Basement is a household name across California, selling everything you need to enjoy the outdoors since 1998. And we are so proud to call them a longtime Workspace customer. Please welcome Anthony Biolato, the CIO of Sports Basement, to tell us more.
I'm Anthony Biolato, CIO for Sports Basement in California. In 1998, we started as a humble warehouse in San Francisco with a mission to help communities shine a little brighter, be a little greener, and make our shared outdoor spaces more fun and accessible for everyone. Over my 21 years with the company, I've seen our business grow to include rentals, ski and bike shops, and community engagement, with over 12 million donated to local schools and charities. People, both customers and staff, are at the heart of what we do at Sports Basement. We believe that when people are having fun, they're doing their best work. 10 years ago, we turned to Google Workspace for the best tools to connect our employees. From the sales floor to our CEO, every single staff member has a Workspace account. Google Meet and Gmail are the backbone of our communication, and we use Google Sheets to monitor stock and inventory. In fact, we use every aspect of the Workspace platform. I don't have nearly enough time to cover it all. Like any business, we always try to look around corners to find ways to evolve. Generative AI has the power to fundamentally change the way we work and connect. It has the power to help us return to the more human elements of our daily tasks and the things that make our company special. That might sound counterintuitive, but let me give you an example from our customer service department. For 8 hours a day, they are knee-deep in chat messages, emails, and calls, responding to customer questions and concerns. They used to rely on 101 different templates for their responses. Although templates are helpful, customers know when they're being served a pre-written response. And as workers, humans aren't wired to spend 8 hours a day sifting through files just to copy and paste. With Gemini for Workspace, the team crafts customer responses nearly instantaneously. From there, they can personalize the emails to best suit a customer's needs and their own voice. This has resulted in a 30 to 35% reduction in time spent drafting messages, resulting in quicker response time and better job satisfaction and higher response quality. With this shift, the work is more human-centered, creating value for our staff and our customers. This has been the power of Gemini for Workspace for just one team at Sports Basement. For me, Gemini for Workspace is an AI-powered assistant in workspace tools I'm already using. I can focus on the core point of an email while Gemini expands the concept and polishes the draft. In Google Docs, Gemini is a brainstorming partner, allowing me to explore different concepts rapidly. These outputs serve as a helpful starting point that can get me 40 to 60% of the way to my final product, empowering me to do more as a professional and a leader. Gemini for Workspace has underscored how the right technology can get us closer to the deeper, much more interesting human work. Typically, introducing a new tool involves a large time investment to vet the product, its security posture, and plan for its rollout. But because we'd already implemented Workspace, our teams were often using Gemini in about 24 hours. This is such an exciting time as we're just beginning to touch on how generative AI can help us continue to evolve. We spend a lot of our lives at work, so we're committed to keep exploring and learning ways to make work more fun, collaborative, and productive. I hope you all have fun on your generative AI journeys, And thank you for the time.
Thank you, Anthony. Workspace has always been on a mission to build helpful, secure tools that empower teams to do better collaboration and do their best work. So it's wonderful to hear how teams are achieving more and really outdoing themselves using Gemini for Workspace. Now, at the heart of great collaboration is great communication. And Workspace is transforming how that's done in businesses of all sizes. Google is a recognized industry leader in unified communications. In fact, in a recent study that we commissioned, Google Meet outperformed Microsoft Teams, Zoom, WebEx in overall video and audio performance. Google Meet and Google Chat are ready to meet the demands of your business, offering the scale and enterprise features that you need for your teams to stay in sync and work effectively, while keeping your information secure and private. And we're adding additional enterprise features, like watermarking on screen-shared content, helping to keep your information secure and discourage inappropriate sharing outside your organization. And in Chat, soon you'll be able to add 500,000 people to Spaces, more than enough for company-wide communications. Both of these updates will be available in the coming weeks. And even more than that, when you adopt Meet and Chat, you have the opportunity to tap into powerful AI features that make communication in your organization more inclusive. Now, over 1 billion people globally speak English as a second language. And we believe that technology that helps people better understand each other can have a profound impact on companies, teams, and individuals. I am thrilled to announce that we are expanding automatically translated captions to 69 languages. This results in 4,600 available language pairs with Gemini in Google Meet. And you saw Take Notes for Me in Meet a little earlier. Note takers of the world, rejoice. This feature is now rolling out in preview, so you can drop the pen and lean into the conversation. These powerful enhancements are just a slice of how Gemini for Workspace can transform communication and inclusion in your organization. And to enable even more customers to benefit from this, we're introducing a new AI meetings and messaging add-on, bringing Gemini capabilities to Meet and Chat for just $10 per user per month. This new add-on includes Take Notes for Me, automatic translations, studio sound, studio lighting, and a lot more. You can contact our sales team for more information. Now, yesterday, in the opening keynote, we talked about how AI is enabling organizations to create powerful employee agents, to simplify processes and help improve services. In every company, there are skilled and specialized teams like legal or HR or marketing, customer support, who could all benefit from a custom AI agent to make work easier and free up some time. We're making it even simpler than ever to build these agents with Google Cloud's Vertex AI and Google Workspace. By using the Model Garden on Vertex AI, you can choose the right model for your needs from more than 130 options. And the Workspace add-on framework allows you to rapidly deploy your custom agent right into Docs, Gmail, and other Workspace apps, automating complex workflows and enabling more efficiency and higher impact work. Please welcome Matteo De Tommaso from Bristol Myers Squibb to tell us about how they're transforming document processes for clinical trials using Vertex AI and Google Workspace.
Thank you, Aparna. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matteo De Tommaso, Senior Vice President of Drug Development IT at Bristol Myers Squibb. At Bristol Myers Squibb, we're driven by our core mission to develop, discover, and deliver innovative medicines that help patients prevail over serious disease. We work to transform lives, and technology plays a key role in making that happen. My team oversees our strategy and implementation for applying technology to the drug development process. Clinical trials are long. They're difficult, they're expensive, and they're document intensive. But they are the critical way that we prove the efficacy and the safety of a new medicine for patients. To run a clinical trial, we have to navigate a lot of complexity that's geographic, around the globe, partnerships with clinicians, regulators, and our own internal teams. With generative AI, we saw an opportunity to innovate and to streamline our efforts for 80 different document types. And I'm going to show you today something we call the informed consent form. Informed consent forms summarize the purpose of the clinical trial. They tell us about the medicine, about the risks, about what it'll mean for the patient to participate in that clinical trial. And they ensure that the patient understands clearly the purpose and the goals of the trial. Historically, we create informed consent forms manually. Across all of the documents that we create for a clinical trial, that can sometimes be thousands of documents over the life of a trial, they're pulling from content that's overlapping, it's interdependent, it's stored in a lot of different systems. This can take weeks of time. We saw an opportunity to reduce this burden for scientists so that they could spend more time on the quality of the science and more time focusing on the patient. We're using Vertex AI and Google Workspace, and we're accelerating our timelines and improving the quality of our documentation. Creating an ICF used to take weeks. Now we can do it in a few minutes. Let me walk you through an example. We have a Google Workspace add-on powered by Vertex AI. You can launch this tool from the menu, add-on menu in Drive or Docs. The tool generates a variety of document types, and here you see that we're going to choose an ICF, or an informed consent form. The next step, you select the protocol, that's the clinical trial, that matches the one you're working on. And then generative AI populates the informed consent form template with accurate, relevant content. And now the data is brought to the scientists. They're not going around scrambling and looking for it. Now the draft document is generated. Literally, that's about how fast it works in real life. Researchers can review their sections, they can edit information directly in the familiar Docs interface, and they can make updates quickly, like adjusting the reading level or even translating into another language. This eliminates the manual effort, and it takes just a few minutes to do. Using Vertex AI and Google Workspace has allowed us to build an elegant, secure solution that enables our teams to focus more on our patients and on the science. These are early days with generative AI. We're just beginning to see the potential, and we're excited to continue to innovate and push the bounds of what's possible. Patients are at the heart of what we do, and we want to make a difference to transforming patients' lives, and we want to do that as quickly as possible. We will continue to build on this capability with generative AI and Workspace, and we're excited to see what's next. With that, I'm going to hand it back to Aparna. Thank you.
Thank you, Matteo. That was brilliant. Now, that's just one example of how your company could benefit from a custom Vertex AI and Workspace solution. Make sure that you visit the Workspace and Demo Showcase to see even more and learn how your organization can get started today. Now let's turn to something that's top of mind for every business: security. Please welcome Yuli Kwan Kim to tell us more about the work that we do to make Gmail the most secure email product for business.
Thank you, Aparna. Security is indeed the foundation that allows your teams to get their best work done. Unfortunately, the recent trend has been concerning. Almost every week, there is news about a major business being impacted by a cyber attack. This is in large part because of a structural shift in the threat landscape. First is a rise of state-sponsored adversaries that target enterprise and government organizations for espionage and IP theft. Second is a rapid increase in commercially driven ransomware groups that target businesses of all sizes, from mom-and-pop shops to the largest enterprises. These adversaries increasingly impact more and more businesses. In fact, 76% more organizations were affected by cybercrime last year than in 2022. And 69% of successful intrusions impacted mission-critical industries like government, healthcare, and finance. And how do these attacks typically start? The most common tactic is phishing emails that can include links to malicious websites to steal user credentials, or attachments with malware. Not all attacks are successful, but the ones that are typically start with an exploit in software, phishing, or stolen credentials. Adversaries often exploit a vulnerability in software to access your network and gain elevated privileges. The reality is that traditional email solutions do not have a strong record in keeping their software resilient from exploits. In fact, according to the US Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, 1 in 3 of the routinely exploited vulnerabilities in 2022 were in Microsoft Exchange. And Microsoft's email and collaboration products have had more than 50 vulnerabilities that were actively exploited to breach organizations in the past 3 years. Some of these vulnerabilities impact both cloud and on-premises versions of Microsoft's products. In contrast, Gmail and Workspace had 0. With Gmail, we took a fundamentally different and we believe a more secure approach. First, Gmail uses cutting-edge AI defenses and threat signals from billions of endpoints to automatically protect your users from the vast majority of harmful emails. This is something that we've been improving for 20 years. Second, unlike Microsoft 365, where emails and files are stored on end users' devices, in Gmail, your data is stored in the cloud, which is easier to protect with data protection controls. Third, unlike Microsoft 365, there are no desktop apps that need to be patched and secured. This means a smaller attack surface and less work for your IT teams. Fourth, Gmail has no on-premises software. Again, another thing that your IT teams don't have to patch and secure. And last but not least, with Gmail, you can prevent vendor and foreign government access to your data with a unique technology that we call client-side encryption. The power of large language models that you saw earlier today can also be used to defend against threats and protect your data. In fact, we're already doing this across Gmail and Drive, and the early results are really exciting. In Gmail, 20% less spam on average is reaching your inbox, thanks to large language models. At the scale that we operate, this is a meaningful quality of life improvement for billions of users. Large language models also help our safety teams evaluate more user-reported spam in Gmail than we could before to prevent unwanted email for everyone. This is like having 1,000 times more people fighting against spam on your behalf. In Drive, large language models can help you classify and protect your data at a scale and precision that is difficult to do with traditional methods. Please welcome Nikhil Sinha, who will show you how we can do it today with a capability that we call AI classification.
Thank you, Yuli. Hello, everyone. I'm sure that each one of you have worked on a document that contains sensitive information and needs to be protected. Here, I have one such file that has already been classified as confidential. Now, for the purpose of this live demo, I need to copy a part of this information into a new document so that I can coordinate the marketing and PR plans for this amazing event here in Las Vegas. Once I create the new document and insert this confidential information, you would notice something on the top left. Within moments, the document was classified as confidential automatically. This classification value can be reviewed by the end user and accepted if deemed accurate. Because this document has been classified, we can now apply data loss prevention policies to make sure that the file is not shared externally outside your organization, as you can see over here. Now, there are two things which I think are really magical about what you just saw. It may not be obvious at first glance, so let me reiterate that for you. First, all of this happened in near real time. This is because of our cloud-native architecture, which empowers really highly efficient user experience within the web browser without the need of any desktop applications. Second, this is not a simple text matching algorithm that you may have seen in the past. The system utilizes large language models to reason with the contents of this document and establish if it is truly confidential for your organization. Last but not the least, wouldn't it be impressive if AI classification could scan all files within Google Drive and apply the necessary classification labels? You can see it here on the top right. Based on the sensitivity of the file, the classification system has already applied these labels to all files within Google Drive. And all of this happens in a privacy-preserving manner, which means that these models that are unique to you are not shared outside your organization. Setting this up as an administrator is simpler than you may think. You can start training your AI model with very few files within Google Drive. And the model continues to learn based on feedback from your trusted end users. Once the model is trained and ready, you can then use it to auto-apply labels for all files within Google Drive. With that, you just saw the power of AI to identify and protect your sensitive information. Back to you, Yuli.
Thanks for the demo, Nikhil. Our enterprise customers have been using this capability over the last few months to protect their data. We use it internally at Google as well, where AI classification has helped us and our security teams identify and classify 900 million internal files. This is a valuable addition to the arsenal that our security teams use to ensure that all of our sensitive data remains secure. AI classification is now generally available through the new AI security add-on for just $10 per user per month. This is a low-cost way to protect your data in the era of generative AI. So far, we covered how we architected Gmail and how we're infusing large language models to protect your data. But what does this mean for you? Well, we believe that it means a more secure email for your business. First, Gmail automatically blocks more than 99.9% of spam, phishing attempts, and malware from ever reaching your users. Office 365 and Exchange do not offer this level of automatic protection. Second, Gmail detects twice as much malware on average than third-party standard antivirus products alone. This means that half of the malware that Gmail detects is not caught by standard antivirus products. Microsoft does not publicly share the protection rate for never-seen malware in Office 365 or Exchange. And unlike Office, client apps, and Exchange, Gmail had 0 high and critical vulnerabilities in the last 5 years. Security is one of the reasons why customers choose Workspace. The city of Dearborn, for example, recently switched from a traditional email provider to Gmail in large part because of the security. This helped the city to meaningfully reduce harmful emails from reaching their employees so they can focus on delivering a superior public service. And because Gmail is simpler to manage and doesn't require a separate email security product, IT teams can also use their extra time and budget to focus on other valuable projects. Snap Inc., the company behind the popular Snapchat app, also chose Gmail because of its security. Combining Gmail with security best practices, such as security keys and shorter sessions, allowed Snap to better defend against phishing and other identity-based attacks. In fact, Snap has been able to eliminate account takeovers across our company for more than 2 years and counting. This is a serious accomplishment for any organization, but especially for a company of this size. With security, however, the job is never done. And I'd like to highlight a couple of announcements this week. First, to help you protect your sensitive data, we're extending data loss prevention and classification labels to Gmail. These controls already are available in Drive. Second, you can now make your sensitive data more resilient against attacks by quantum computers. These are known as Harvest Now, Decrypt Later attacks. Together, with our client-side encryption partners, including Thales and Fortinix, we are adding experimental support for post-quantum cryptography. This is a first and only among enterprise collaboration suites. What I shared with you today is a small part of the work that we do every day to make Gmail the most secure email product for business. There is much more across Workspace in threat prevention, data protection, and digital sovereignty that we're discussing across 5 deep dive sessions this week. And I hope to see you there. Back to you, Aparna.
Thank you, Yuli. Thank you, Yuli. We've got one last demo to share before we wrap things up today. And to set that up, I want to return to where we started. Gemini is allowing people to do things that they simply couldn't do a year ago. Everyone can be a great writer. Everyone can now be an effective communicator. And everyone can now be an illustrator. And now, everyone can be a great storyteller through video.
Sales team, we're excited to share the details of the launch of our new product.
Sometimes you just don't need to go to another meeting, but a doc or a presentation or a recording simply isn't enough. Video is such a powerful storytelling medium for all of us at home, but the tools for doing this at work have not been easy. Connected with my workflow or productivity apps, and they make collaboration a tax, not a benefit. Sitting alongside Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides, Google Vids is an AI-powered video creation app for work. It lets you become a video producer and storyteller extraordinaire by starting with a little more than a file on your Google Drive and a few prompts. Let me invite Christina back to the stage to show you how easy this is.
Thanks, Aparna. Hi again. Okay, let's walk through how you can build and share stories with Vids just as easily as you do with Google Docs or Slides. First, we'll move from an idea to a storyboard in minutes. So Priya's team is moving towards the launch of a new line, and to get the sales team excited, she wants to create a short product overview video. When Priya opens up Vids, she can get started in one of two ways. She can either choose from a variety of pre-designed templates or use Gemini and Vids to generate a storyboard in minutes. She opts for the latter, typing in her prompt and includes the launch plan doc that Gemini just helped her create earlier. And then based on that prompt, Gemini is going to suggest an outline of her story. Priya can make these edits and adjustments easily, and then she can pick her favorite style, and then using the power of Gemini, that's it. Vids has created a story with suggested scenes that include stock videos, images, text, background music, and even a generated script. Now that you've seen how to create a first draft, let's see how easy it is for Gemini to create a voiceover. Priya wants to give a script a voiceover, but like many of us, she does not like the sound of her own voice. Not to worry. She can choose from a selection of professional preset voices that complement her script. Each one has a distinctive personality, so she picks her favorite, previews it in scene. Let's see.
Traditional packaging contributes to environmental harm. We owe it to ourselves and to future generations to find sustainable alternatives.
All right, so far I've shown you how you can create a storyboard and give your video a voice without even having to record yourself. Now let's see how easy it is to add in high-quality stock videos and images. With Google Vids, Priya is able to add her own creative flair and bring the story to life. The content library lets her enrich the scenes by adding a range of royalty-free videos, imagery, background music, and so much more. Priya feels good about her flow and her story, and she wants to bring Xavier, the head of sales, to help her personalize it. Let me show you how easy that is to do with Vids. Today, video creation is typically a solo player game, but because Vids is built right into Workspace, Priya and Xavier can work together as seamlessly and as easily as they do with any other Google Workspace app. Priya is ready to add in Xavier to add his pitch for the new line of packaging. So she adds an additional scene, tags him in, and he knows exactly where to add his pitch. How easy was that? Vids has several ways to help you land your message. A clip of Xavier pitching live is just what the story needs to come to life. And now it's Xavier's time to shine. He clicks on the comment, opens up the script, and then types in a quick pitch. Once he's ready, he simply taps record, and the recruiting studio counts Xavier in, and he uses the teleprompter right above the camera to record his pitch with confidence. Once he's done, he adds it to the timeline. It was that easy. Xavier, like most of us, he didn't get it right the first time, but with Vids transcript trimming, he can fix it without having to do another take. Google Vids transcript tool can help you look and sound your best. So there were a few ums and ahs in here that he'd like to remove, so it sounds a little bit more professional. In just a few clicks, the transcript tool works like magic, shaving a couple of seconds off of the intro. Now that Xavier has added in his pitch, the product overview video is finally ready to share, which he can easily do in his team space in Google Chat. The team is excited to see what Xavier and Priya have created to learn about this new product. They click on this link. I mean, I'm getting a little ahead of it. And they click on this link, and then all they have to do is hit play from there. Vids is helping you tell engaging stories at work, taking you from an idea to a video without any prior video editing or production experience. Vids will be available in Workspace Labs in June. Back to you, Aparna.
We're inspired every day by how our customers are using Workspace and Gemini to make work more seamless, inclusive, and fulfilling. Seeing our customers outdo themselves is what drives us to continue making products that help you create, connect, and work safer. Thank you to the customers and the amazing members of the Workspace team who joined me today and made this happen. I'd also like to thank our Workspace partners, many of whom are here at Next for their commitment to the Workspace ecosystem. Now, if you'd like to try Gemini or are interested in one of our new add-ons, you can get started right now by visiting this link. You can learn more about Vids, Gemini for Workspace, and building agents with Vertex in our demo showcase right here. And you must pick up a copy of our prompting guide to help you become a prompting expert. Don't leave Next without one. There are dozens of Workspace breakout sessions where you can dive deeper, so please check them out. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful Next here in Vegas.